Just gotta make sure that we're going live in Facebook for just a minute. Looks like we are, so perfect. Um, Happy Thursday. I'm so glad that you're here with me, whether you're watching us on the live or the replay. But I want to talk about how the accounting profession is kind of working themselves to death. And we're kind of having a battle within the accounting industry itself. And I did a post yesterday, I think it was yesterday, on what people believe is wrong in the accounting industry. And I want to, or what are the struggles in the accounting industry? And I want to talk about three pillars that I have found that they all kind of lead to, and they all kind of fall under these pillars. So, so if you've never watched anything I've done before, I'm Leslie Leondis, where I help other accountants, bookkeepers, and tax pros get the actual business that they actually want. Because what I have found over the years of not only working in my own accounting and tax practice, but also helping hundreds of others, that it's there's a common thread about what holds us back. And a lot of it is that we have these beliefs and these limiting beliefs of what is going on in our mind. So the first pillar that I want to talk about is pricing, and pricing leads to the other two pillars. So I know on the Facebook post that I posted on my personal profile, there was a lot of talk in there about a lot of people in the industry not pricing correctly. And a lot of this goes around limiting beliefs, not able to hear no, hearing that, oh, well, that person over there did it for, it will do it for this price, but you're expensive. But we're comparing apples and oranges. So therefore it deflates what we think we can charge. So you have to get confident in what you can charge. And so I just want to talk about pricing for a bit before I go into the second pillar, because pricing, there's a lot of things that goes into pricing that a lot of people aren't putting into pricing. I've seen all the calculators. I've seen where people are like putting it into an Excel sheet to figure out how much it is, but you're not selling what they want, you're selling what they need. So the client really wants X, but you're selling Z. So hopefully this makes sense. And I didn't understand this for a long time myself, but over the last 5 years, I've been doing a tremendous amount of training on pricing psychology, selling, all kinds of things. So I want you to think about when you have a sales call and the client's like, hey, I need my bookkeeping done, or I need my tax return done. Well, why do you need it done? What is the underlying cause? As accountants, we naturally go with, you need it done because the IRS says you need it done. Well, if that's the only reason they're there, they're going to be extremely price sensitive. But what I see many accountants doing in these pricing calculators and these different models that they've learned over the years is they're undervaluing the price for all the other stuff. So if you want to work in just compliance only, that's where you're going to have the price sensitivity. If you want to build a relationship with a client, then you have to price to build that relationship. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because we can only work with a select number of people in our businesses, because we have to have a team that can support them. We have to have the tech that can support them. We have to have the marketing that can support them. We have to have the referrals that can support them. We have to have the sales that can support them. We have to have all these pieces in order to price correctly. So if this is making sense, can you let me know in the comments that this is making sense? Because I just want to make sure I'm on the right page here. And I'm going to go over to Facebook to make sure if there's any comments on it, because I want to make sure that I'm like on the right place. And I know a lot of people are going to be catching this on the replay because of today is March the 14th. So, but on pricing, when you're talking to a client and you're like, hey, what is it that you really need? And you have to pick up key words. So some of the clients that I have talked to, that I have sold tax services to, or I've sold bookkeeping to, I looked for it. Why did you leave your previous accountant? Well, my previous accountant never talked to me. They told me I owe 40 grand on April the 14th, or, so I had no communication whatsoever. Oh, did you get your documents in on time? Yes, I absolutely did. But then they were so busy, they didn't have time to mess with me. And every time I called, they wouldn't answer my calls or anything because they're just too busy. That's what's wrong with the industry, but pricing is causing it, because we're underpricing because we think clients won't pay it. But clients will pay a premium if you deliver premium services. But in order to deliver premium services, you have to raise your prices and be okay with it, and be okay with losing clients strategically. I'm not saying go lose every client right now. So that's my spill on pricing, which is the first pillar. The second pillar is, I hear all the time, I cannot find qualified staff. I just can't. And I'm calling bull crap. Because the reason you can't find qualified staff is, number one, you have an ineffective hiring process. Number two, you don't invest in people. You don't invest in the right systems. You're still working on the antiquated model of where you want people to work all the time. And even if you say, I don't want them to work all the time, you're still not that flexible. And I'm not talking about let them run all over you. That's not what I'm talking about. But people want something different. And 2020 showed us that people want something different. It showed them the world could shut down in one day. People are dying at their desk in the accounting profession. People don't want to work like this anymore. People that are younger, they don't want to get stuck in a profession doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. They want to grow and learn. And we coach on a concept called the S curve that I've learned through a program called Clockwork. And the S curve means that people want to move up. So if you think about an S, they start at the bottom of this S curve and they move up that S curve and they move around. And then they go up to the top of the S curve. So when they're at the very top of that S curve, that's where they get tired of doing the same thing over and over again. And this is leadership at its best. You have to identify when people are at the top of their S curve and they're ready to move to a different S curve. So in my firm, a lot of them have moved from admin to bookkeepers to tax professionals to sales to marketing. And guess what? They've done it all. So then they're a jack of all trades, and then they can go and help other people in those positions, because I'm constantly moving them on their S curve. I'm constantly developing them. I'm mentoring them. I am being their coach. What do you want? So we talk a lot in our coaching program about what the owner wants, but also what the team wants, because you have to ask your team members what it is that you want. And they have to be kind of aligned, and they have to be bought into what the business is. And a lot of people are wanting more, to be more involved into the business. And I've seen this in my clients' businesses, people that are actually invested in improving the business, because a lot of times it's not about money, but we as business owner automatically assume it's about money, but not necessarily. So have you asked that question? What's important to them? And when I've asked this question numerous times, the most important thing to them is time. So think about that for a second. It's time, not necessarily money. But I saw on that Facebook post, a lot of people are saying, well, people just don't want to work anymore. That doesn't mean, because that time is important to them, that they don't want to work. That's not what that means. That means they just have different priorities. So you have to stop and think, are they aligned with you? Are you still wanting to work 60, 70 hours a week? If so, the younger generation doesn't want to do that. I know my kids don't want to do that. My daughter went to nursing school so she could work 3 days a week. That's what she works, 3 days a week. She's like, that's all I want to work, 3 days a week, and I make good money. That's all I want to do. So you have to change your mindset around staff. And I could go on and on and on about this pillar, because I have done so much leadership training, so much into ineffective processes, ineffective task management, ineffective systems. This all leads to people not wanting to work in the industry. Because if you think about people that are at McDonald's, and I know I'm not comparing to the accounting profession as McDonald's, but those people move on. They start there, when they start there, then they move up, they move on. Well, if you're wanting people to stay with you and move up, you always should teach them more. But then I hear, oh, I don't want to teach them everything because they'll go start their own business. Well, you know what? That's okay. Because not all people want to start businesses. So therefore, you have to see what you're okay with. Because I'm okay with investing in my team. And if they want to go start their own business, more power to them. I had my admin go start her own business. And I was like, you know what? Great for you, because I know I was part of her journey. And that's what it is. It's a journey. All of this is a journey. So in the third pillar, so we have pricing in pillar one, in the first pillar, that flows down to team and staffing, which I have like a whole diagram I drew on this yesterday. And then you take it down to the third pillar, which is burnout. Because if you have ineffective pricing, you have ineffective team, you lead to burnout. So those three things is what I see is going on in the industry. So we have got to stop these three things, because the thing is, you say that burnout is because you can't find effective staff, but the fact of the matter is you can't lead. You don't know how to lead. You have to have control over everything. You have to have, and I'm just saying this because I talked to thousands of accountants about this over the years, thousands. And even the ones in my coaching program, we still fight this. And then you have a limiting belief that nobody can do it as well as you. It has to be perfect. And when I was going through all my training to get my CPA license, I swear that woman, I felt like slapped my hands with a ruler every time I made a mistake, but I was learning. So if we're making our team feel like that, they're not going to stay, which then in turn causes burnout. But I had a client tell me yesterday, he had over 400 applications for an accounting manager. While some of them may be great, some of them may not be, but there are people looking for jobs in the accounting industry with that experience, because he had it set up for that level of experience. So people aren't wanting to stay where that culture is not met, which is causing burnout in the industry. So if you want things to change, you have to take a stance. And I am taking a stance that this accounting industry and profession, whatever you want to call it, because right now it kind of feels like an industry, just to be completely honest. We have to take a stance together, because this business, the accounting profession industry, is the backbone of small business. And whether you feel small business owners don't want to pay for it, a lot of this comes down to how you're presenting it. Are they the right clients for you? Because not all people are created equal, but getting so clear on who you want to work with and what services you want to provide is the key to unlocking these three pillars. So because once you unlock who you want to serve, how you want to serve them, what does it look like, you can price correctly, you can hire correctly, you can avoid the burnout. But those are my three pillars that I'm seeing today. And if this was even remotely impactful, can you please let me know in the comments? Because I just want to know I'm not on this journey alone. And for those of you that are watching this that have the same passion I do, if you could please let me know in the comments, because sometimes I feel like I'm on this island alone. And if you want help with this, comment me below so we can reach out to you to see where you're at and see where you want to go, even if it's not at this time, but where do you want to go? Because this time is not about reinventing the wheel. It's about just thinking a little bit differently. And that's why I wanted to present this presentation on these three pillars that I have actually come up with over time. And so in this quick training, because I know that everybody's busy, and so I didn't want to go too deep in it. So that way it could just get you to think differently throughout this time. Like, what is causing the ripple effect? Is it pricing that's causing a staffing issue that's causing me to feel burnout? Is it pricing that's causing staffing, that's causing my team to feel burnt out. So, okay, because you're also responsible for your team feeling burnt out, because when they feel burnt out, they don't produce. When they feel burnt out, they're going to look for something else, because a lot of people don't want to work like this anymore. So you have to get past that mentality. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, comment me below and we will reach out to you if you want help with any of this. And we'll send you a DM and just find out where you're at and go from there. So have a fantastic rest of your day. I know the 15th is tomorrow. So I hope this finds you very close to that deadline. And I will talk to you soon.